Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special broadcast of TEDXcellence. Starting a little early. There is a presidential address that's about to take place. It's taking place in the same time slot as my usual TEDx stream. And so rather than compete with it, I thought I would just simulcast it. And then once it's over, we will start off with the TEDXcellence show proper. Because strangely enough, the topic of conversation in the president's address is related to tonight's TEDXcellence topic. Election stuff. So we'll do that. I'm just waiting for the White House to post the link to the live stream of the president's address. And as soon as that comes up, I will bring it up. So we got a little time to kibitz and say hello and let everybody who might be not here yet get here. I put a notice over on the Discord server and on the Twitter machine, letting everybody know. I kind of made this decision last minute because I thought, well, I want to hear what he has to say. I don't want to compete with him. And if any of my viewers who might want to watch his presentation do so and then see I'm still alive, they won't have missed anything after they watch it. So there you go. Anyway, sorry for all the... it's a strange evening. But either way, who's joining me on this beautiful Thursday evening? Advocatus Diaboli, good evening. Kiefer Dam, hello. Noah Sentio, hello. Random American, hello. Blue-Eyed Scream, hello. Old Guy Gamer, good evening. Who else is here? Captain JPS. Good evening, everyone. I won't be here later, okay, but I will catch us on the replay. Other note, I finally watched The Hunt for Red October last night. Such a great film. It's not only a great film, it is the best film ever made. That is the truth of the matter. So I'm glad that you have just watched the best film ever made. Corey Suzuki, good evening. The Blakester, hello. Spoony the Rebel, hello. Kiro Soldier, hello. Attack Alpaca, good evening. Lurking Gopher, hello. And Kiever Dam, thank you. I will put that into the chat. Guys, in the chat now, pinned, thanks to Kiever Dam, is the link to the donation page for Blood Cancer United. Please take a look when you have the opportunity. If you can donate, please do so. But even if you can't, if you could share that out on social media, that would be appreciated. So thank you ahead of time for that. And thank you, Kiever Dam, as always, for providing the link. Jay Blizzard, scrolls early. Also, his hair is first. It's true. I got my ears lowered today. As the saying goes. Needed a little bit of a trim. I need to lighten up my coat a little bit. Let's see, who else is here? Anybody else I missed in the meantime? I don't think so. So I think I got everybody. But yeah, so waiting for the White House to post the link to the broadcast, and as soon as it does, there it is. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up here and share it. So we will await that. Is that showing up correctly? I think so. Okay. So this will happen sooner rather than later, I assume. There we go. Okay, that works. Make sure I've got everything. I don't usually simulcast other YouTube videos live on YouTube, so I just want to make sure I got everything correct. All right. So we are awaiting the start of the presidential address on election stuffs, I guess. That's all I know about it. I don't know if anything else is leaked in the meantime, but he's going to be talking about election integrity or the electoral process or claims of something or other. I did see one little post that said there will be revelations or disclosures or something. I don't know what, but we will watch it together. I hope it doesn't go for too long. Because the TEDx tonight in question is just over 14 minutes, which means we're looking at least 90 minutes of TEDXcellence. I don't mind going late, I suppose. I don't have a choice in this instance. I'd rather not go any more later than I have to. So hopefully this isn't a 3-hour-long tirade by our president. But I guess we'll find out. So let's see. Yep, so it's just the waiting is the hardest part. Anybody else in the chat? Also, by the way, if you haven't already done so, please do like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Especially since I didn't really give a lot of notice that I was going to be broadcasting the president's address as well. So it would help out. Let me get the Discord link ready for later. Just to make sure I've got that squared away. Doing some preparatory stuff here. Yes, we have that. We have that. Okay. Okay. So I think as ready as I can be in waiting for the president to appear. But, let's see. What else we got? Yeah, this is the waiting. What do you think about the half MSN not broadcasting? Oh, I think I read something about that. I don't know. I guess they don't, care about the kind of viewership they're going to get with a presidential address. It's their choice. I mean, they're not required. I don't think they're required by law, unless it's an emergency broadcast or something. So, I'm just happy to hear someone today that doesn't use like every third word. I do my best. I have been known to use the occasional cheap interrogator, whatever they're called, without knowing it from time to time. I try my best to avoid it consciously, but once in a blue moon, it can slip in there. So I try. Is he going to say you were at war with Canada? I doubt it. I doubt it. In fact, given the subject matter he's supposedly going to talk about, I would be surprised if he even brings up what's going on in Iran. Because if he was making a statement on Iran, I don't think any of the news outlets would avoid broadcasting it. Oh, I got to get all my tchotchkes up here. I got to get my banner and my comments. There we go. Apologize for that. Okay, so we're just waiting. We got another 9 minutes or so. It's supposed to start at 6 o'clock. So I'll save all the TEDx relevant comments I have until it's TEDx time, because that would make more sense. But yes, it's been a busy day. Work, and all in the middle of it, I had to go get a haircut. Well, I didn't have to get a haircut, but went and got a haircut. So now I got my ears lowered, and I'm looking all sharp. Got my coat thinned out for the hot weather ahead, which I'm sure is coming. Peter, Canada is your truest friend. I mean, of our direct neighbors and the forces controlling them, I suppose, by comparison, Canada is truly our friend. Of course, they don't really have a choice in the matter. If we wanted to, we could steamroll over you. Not that we're going to do that, but, why not cut off all of them? Well, I just had the one. It's just one. See, it's just one long hair that I wrap around my head. And so I'd have to trim it once and then rewrap it around and everything's cool. Divine Petulance. Good evening. So let's see. How many people are watching the presidential stream right now? 9,914. Oh boy. So we are just one of 9,000, although a collection through my broadcast. Now this is the exciting stuff, guys. Waiting. Maybe I should have started 5 minutes later than I did. But it gives people time to show up and be alerted, presumably, that there's a broadcast going on. But, yeah, so he's going to be talking about election stuff, electoral security or process or something, and that is, I mean, it's coincidentally relevant to tonight's topic. Tonight's topic, which is your guys' fault. Those of you on the Discord server voted for this. Talking about the next generation of electoral, what is it called again? The next generation of voting reform, voting reform. So that'll be tonight's topic as soon as we get past the president's address. I already know the president's address. It's 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. If I didn't already know the president's address, what's this? Oh, I have closed captioning on. That's the problem. Okay. I was like, what is that stuff that keeps popping up on my screen? Look, I don't think I need closed captioning. Besides, I'm going to be looking at this screen while he's talking, and it's a tiny little screen. So. Let's see. Guessing we're getting rid of the Electoral College would be on the TEDx. I don't know. I don't know. I have a vague... I don't even have a vague notion of what she's going to be talking about. I just know the title. But the... I mean, like voting reform. It's got to be something like... It could be Electoral College being knocked down. It could be... I want to save... I've got a lot of preamble for tonight's talk that I was thinking about beforehand, so I want to save that for the time. Also, Miranda Stone is here. Oh my gosh, guys. Before the president shows up, we have to at least address the Queen. So there we go. And Jeremiah Embry, thank you. Thought I could come in and tell you, but you already know about the president's address. Yeah, I figured, why try to compete? Might as well simulcast. We'll watch it together and then move on to the related TEDx topic. The Dead Man. Good evening. Did I miss anybody? Oh, the internet's favorite lunatic. Good evening. Hiya, neighbor. Please won't you be my neighbor? But, yep, so we will commiserate. And who knows, maybe the president will talk about something that will end up being relevant, at least in discussion, with tonight's TEDx talk. It's possible. Maybe the president will say that he's going to do something that the speaker herself will end up suggesting. Wouldn't that be weird? I'd be surprised, but you never know. I mean, for all I know, the speaker is going to be promoting the Save America Act. Probably not, but, you know, it's not impossible. Let's see. Also, I don't have a date yet for those of you that like to have dates on these things, but I am colluding with Sinatra Says to do an interview with him about his 10 years on YouTube. I'm calling it Inside the YouTuber's Studio. And I'll even try to ask him the questions at the end of the talk from Bernard Pivot, like on Inside the Actor Studio. My intention is, if it goes well, and that remains to be seen, is to make it a series with some of my old or long-standing YouTube compatriots like Ranting Monkey and Satsu and Irate Alex and so many other people that either are or have hit a decade on YouTube or so. Or even if they haven't hit a decade, but, you know, have been around a while, to talk to them about specifically their YouTube experiences. Scribe, since when has any TEDx speaker been a conservative and rational? Well, I mean, I guess the closest I've looked at in recent memory was the Coleman Hughes TEDx talk, which TEDx did their mighty best to try to either not have happen or not be broadcast. So I guess that's the closest I could say we've come to that I can remember. But yeah, it is rare the case that regardless of what subject matter I go after, that the speaker doesn't set off some alarm bells in some way, shape, or form. I don't want to think that's just endemic to TEDx, but either that or I just have the worst luck. Or the best luck, depending on how you look at it, for entertainment purposes. But who knows? And if I find that occasional pure science TEDx, like the spinal repair one I watch with Ranting Monkey, then there's not a whole lot of politics to deal with there, usually. So, but then you get NF trees and data centers in space. Data centers in space. Also, Alibi of Colorado. Good evening. Yes, we're waiting for the president. Any minute now. We're at the top of the hour. We're almost there. I don't know if it's pre-recorded or something, but hopefully it'll go off on time and it won't last too long. And then we'll get our information from the White House out of the way, and then we can move on to TEDXcellence. Merhaba, Alabay, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, because I'm terrible with pronunciations. Sometimes I mispronounce things for fun, because it's fun. Like Thursday in Spanish is huevos. Yeah, I know it's not actually huevos, but it's close enough that when I say that to my friend Leonora, it makes her laugh. So that's the fun part. You're all nuck and futs. The Dem Socialist Party of America had a recent podcast promoting the elimination of the Senate. Wow. Yeah. You know, I could put out a podcast talking about the elimination of the moon, and it would be just about as productive. Also, I thought I just saw I did see somebody in the chat. Hold on. There, Alexander the Scourge. Good evening. Sorry I missed you. You slipped by me. It's probably your lich powers. Okay, Mr. President, we're now 1 minute over your start time. We are still live. We are waiting for you to begin. I hope we're not waiting for 15 or 20 minutes or something. The stream's already going to go on pretty long as it is. But we're now eating into the regular broadcast time of TEDXcellence. I suppose I should probably turn off the piano music once he starts talking. I like my piano music. It's nice and calming, soothing. It's like 5 or 6 different piano tunes linked together to make sure it doesn't sound too monotonous. These addresses are almost never on time. Yeah, I mean, there have been a couple that were, I think, pre-recorded, so they just had to flip a switch at the right time and they turned on or something. But if he's doing it live... Okay. No. And Simon Willikins, I'm late because I didn't get the half-hour warning until 8:30, so I thought you wouldn't start until 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, well. I apologize. Like I said, it was all kind of last-minute decision to try to do 2 things at once. But...
Good evening. Before we begin, I'm proud to report that our country is safer, stronger, and far wealthier than it has ever been before. We are doing great. Less than 2 years ago, we inherited an economic and social disaster. After the worst inflation in 48 years, the wide open borders with millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, including criminals of all types, and 11,888 murders, many of whom killed more than one person. We had transgender for everybody, men and women sports, crime ravaging our cities, and the whole world was laughing at us as a nation, but not anymore. 2 years ago, our country was dead. Now, we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. America is respected like we have never been respected before. We have more money being invested in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. More Americans are working today than ever before. This week it was announced that inflation saw the largest monthly decline in more than 6 years. Just happened. It was just given out. The media reported it, and we accept it. The best in 6 years. The tax cuts in our great, big, beautiful bill are saving hardworking families thousands and thousands of dollars, like with the provisions, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, along with the interest deduction on a loan used to purchase a car, but only if that car is made in America, and a 100% expensing for our job-creating businesses. Our stock markets are at their highest point in many years, but we can actually say of all time. And your 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts are setting records every single day, the highest in history. For years, we paid the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. Now we pay the lowest price under my most favored nations policy because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly. Drug prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%. TrumpRx.gov, this will ultimately reduce the cost of health care. You have to go to TrumpRx.gov and take advantage of it. But the cost of health care is coming way down because of what we've done with prescription drugs. And with Trump accounts, every child in America now has access to a tax-free investment account to save for their future. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested, put in by companies and individuals to take care of our children so that at age 18, they will have potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start in life. So for that, go to trumpaccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child who'd like to sign up. Our previously wide open borders have been transformed into the most secure borders in the history of our country, with 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the United States in the past 14 months. That is 0. Nobody thought it was possible. We had the worst border in the history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide, with the murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 125 years ago. We're making a record investment in our armed forces, and we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure. One where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you. The American people are beautiful, our great American people, but that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, "This is the most secure election in the history of our country," a standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of Significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were supposed to be at a different level by different people, incinerated and checked, but it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. We believe this was not done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that were supposed to burn the bags. But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Tonight, we're publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America. Tonight, we're releasing all of those findings, and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026, this is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results on these terrible machines. Today, we are releasing documents that show the CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020, and that's what they did. This reporting included precise details about methods to regime develop to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep they went. This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned, they couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls, and yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, really, we should be together, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody, and it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest. I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately. But most importantly, addressing this crisis of election security demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act. How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or can't get elected any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo voter ID. How simple is that? Could I have your photo, please? Photo voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel if you're going away on business or vacation. These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military. And God bless America. Thank you very much.
Well, there you go. There was the President of the United States talking about election security and documents available online right now over at whitehouse.gov. And also the at least implied promise that charges or prosecutions may take place. I'll believe it when I see it. But anyway, so there you go, guys. That was the address from the President of the United States on election security and the state of our election system. A lot of stuff to digest there, which the news agencies and everybody else and their brother will be picking over in the next several hours, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more to talk about tomorrow. But we're here for something else, and that is TEDx. Oops. No, let's try that again. There we go. So, I hope everybody's doing well this evening. If you're joining late, well, you're not late, because we haven't actually started yet. I took time out to listen to the president. Theater Winch Ginger, good evening. And I hope I got to say good evening to everybody in the chat while the talk was going on. Oh, well, golly gee whiz. Derek Larue, thank you so much, Derek, as always, for your generosity. Really appreciate it. Everybody, as always, if you have not already, be sure to thank Derek for the bingo card and the spinning wheel that we are now using for the show because he designed them and posted them all by his lonesome. Genius as he is. And I really appreciate this. Thank you, Derek, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And also, Draco Rincewind, good evening. You're not late. See, this is the thing. By watching the president's address together, anybody who watched that instead of this, you didn't miss nothing. So, on the topic of voting, we have tonight's TEDXcellence. The official title is The Next Generation of Voting Reform. So, voting reform, it could be anything. It could be voting by cell phone, smartphone. It could be voting with AI. It could be a new way of voting, or a way of voting we're not currently making use of. Don't know. In preparation for this broadcast, I looked up, because I knew there was at least 2 different TEDx's I could recall off the top of my head dealing with voting in the past. And they're both, well, one's from a long time ago, back when I did scripted videos, which had to do with a guy who was promoting the use of algorithmic agents to vote for you. This is before AI became the big thing, although he was effectively saying you could have an AI agent, algorithmic agent. You could go to a marketplace and select your algorithm to vote for you on things. And by this, we could effectively eliminate representative government, and your algorithm could just read and condense and aggregate information on bills to you so you could make a quick vote. No problems with that, of course, and the speaker turned out to be somebody who had a financial interest in a business dealing with voting algorithms, but anyway. And then the other one was, about a year ago, you might remember this, a guy was promoting the idea of voting by smartphone, which left a whole bunch of questions off the table of security and verification and so on. But in fact, those are only the 2 that came to my mind, but in fact, I've done several TEDx talks about voting. Primarily on, people aren't voting as much as they could. The last election only had X percentage points of people actually voting. Why is nobody voting? How can we get more people to vote? Different things like that. So voting reform, or voting changes or methods, has happened quite a lot on this series. But we're about to learn, I guess, the next generation of voting reform. This is hot off the presses. This was posted just the other day. So anyway, get your bingo cards ready. Tonight's bingo card is based off of our friend Faustonia. Faustonia won the spinning wheel last week to have the name algorithm fuel for the card. Link's in the description, but I'll put a link in the chat for those of you that don't have it. Click on that link, get your bingo card ready. If you have the right bingo card, at the top left corner should be childhood or family anecdote. In the bottom right hand corner should be a list. This talk clocks in at just over 14 minutes. We're already half an hour into the time. Let's get this puppy rolling. Start off with a few seconds for a sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then we'll begin. I did pump the volume up. Pump up the volume, Christian Slater, a little bit. So if it's too loud or a bit too loud, let me know and I can turn it down a smidge.
I was 5 years old, hoisted high on my dad's shoulders.
You were 5 years old, hoisted high on your dad's shoulders. Okay, this is from May 2026, and we're in Monmouth, Oregon. Monmouth. Okay. Oregon, is that close to Portland? I don't know why I'm asking that question. We're talking about voting reform. But I vote that yes, I can hear it. Very good. All right.
A sea of protesters all around.
Sorry. Try that again. You were 5 years old when now?
I was 5 years old, hoisted high on my dad's shoulders. A sea of protesters all around.
5 years old. And truth be told, when I was first dealing with setting this up, I had to check myself because for a moment I thought, is this a TEDx youth talk? Because she, at least from the image that I saw, I thought, I wasn't sure that this wasn't like a high school or something. But no, this isn't a TEDx youth talk. She's a adult professional, so.
Over a megaphone, a single voice rang out.
Uh-huh.
What do we want?
Nothing!
Peace!
Peas? I don't like peas. Carrots I'll take.
When do we want it?
Yesterday!
Now! My tiny voice called back, as loud and clear as it could.
Okay.
It felt good to have a voice.
Yeah, one amongst the throng. Peace is a lie. There is only passion.
But unfortunately, our protest that day didn't end the war.
Oh my gosh.
And no matter how many people protest in the streets, there's no guarantee that politicians have to listen.
You're correct. So this is our lead up to an election system. Also, going to the bingo card real quick, because that was a childhood or family anecdote. So clicking on that one on the bingo card. Let's go over the bingo card and remind ourselves what we're listening for. So childhood or family anecdote, already covered. Economic disparity, white supremacy, word salad, marginalized or marginalization, plays victim, patriarchy, contradicts own point or fails to make argument, weightless example or non sequitur, attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase, systemic or institutional. I assume that'll be hard to avoid given we're going to be talking about the voting system. DEI philosophy, feminism, microaggressions or unconscious bias. And again, it has to be that the speaker themselves uses those concepts in their talk in some fashion. Anecdote that probably never happened. Deceptive statistics, privilege, collectivizes own demographic, sales pitch for product or service, leaves out vital context, benevolent condescension, self-vilification or wretchedness, mind reading or assumes motives, and finally a list. So far on the card, we have childhood or family anecdote, and we'll continue.
That's where voting comes in.
Yes.
The whole idea of democracy.
Federal republic, but yes, the whole idea of democracy as a process, yes.
Is to give the people that power.
Yes.
To give us the power to elect politicians we believe in.
Okay.
And to give us the power to hold those politicians accountable if they don't listen.
As long as the election system is secure and valid, right? Hey, the president's speech feeds right into this, sort of.
Let's fast forward.
Okay.
I was 18 years old and excited to vote in my very first presidential election.
Ooh, which was your presidential election? Make me feel old.
Both major party candidates held positions I strongly disagreed with.
2016?
On issues like the economy, the environment, and foreign policy. But of course, the minor party candidates didn't stand a chance.
Fair enough.
So I asked a friend for advice. I don't vote, he said matter-of-factly. It doesn't make a difference, it's toxic, and it's not a good use of my time.
Sounds like an Oregon state of mind.
I was shocked. I argued back with everything I had. Do you know how much people have sacrificed to get us to where we are today?
Okay.
And the only way to make it better is to participate.
I sympathize with that perspective.
But he had killer responses to all my best points.
Oh my
If you
gosh.
vote for someone you know can't win, you're just throwing your vote away.
No, you're speaking your mind. I mean, is it... I guess the question is, are you voting to win, or are you voting to express your values and priorities?
And if you can't actually vote your conscience, it's not a democracy, it's manufactured consent.
It is a tangled tapestry. I'll admit that.
I left the conversation feeling defeated.
Oh, well, that was the point. Misery loves company.
I still believe that voting is absolutely vital, but he convinced me trying to shame voters into voting rather than actually addressing their concerns is never going to be enough.
Okay, well, she's setting up not an unreasonable list of sort of pessimistic concerns about our voting process, even in the absence of suspicions of its integrity. So we're waiting for the build-up here. Okay, so what is the offered solution?
Show of hands. Who here feels like we're not able to make a difference on the issues you care about because our system is broken?
Well, if I take the president at his word with all the information that he's drummed up, then I guess I'd be one of them now, more so than I was before. Okay.
All right, that's pretty much everyone.
I think lack of faith in the system or lack of faith in the efficacy of voting for change and so on, even without suspicions of election integrity, kind of run the gamut across the parties. I think there's a sense of futility a lot of times where we vote for somebody to affect a particular thing to happen, and then more often than not, it just doesn't happen. And, you know.
Over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about how to upgrade our electoral system.
Oh boy! How?
What voting methods are outdated and oversold?
Well, what voting method are you going... Wait, what? A voting method outside the one that is commonly used in national elections, or are you going to go state by state? I'm confused.
And what options actually deliver?
Okay.
But first, back to the story.
Sure.
The 2000 presidential election was a perfect storm.
Oh, the 2000 presidential election. Okay, so you're 18 and 2. Well, heck, you and I are practically the same age. Yeah, ish. Huh. Okay. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, the 2000 presidential election was my first presidential election too.
George W. Bush and Al Gore were basically neck and neck, with Gore ahead by just a razor-thin margin.
Mm-hmm.
But the Green Party candidate, Ralph Nader, drew just enough votes away from Gore to throw the election to the other side.
That has happened before. See, Bush, Clinton, Perot.
If Nader hadn't run at all, it's almost certain that the Democrats would have won that election.
I don't recall the finer details of that history, but for the sake of argument, sure. And I don't really think that's necessarily deceptive statistics, but...
And history would have unfolded very differently.
I've always wondered what the difference would have been in response to 9/11 if Gore had been president. We'll never know, but...
This is a phenomenon called vote splitting.
Is it a phenomenon? Because whenever I think like phenomenon, it's like something that's practically inexplicable or something magical. It's like, it's not magical. It's like you've got 3 candidates, 2 are overlap on a Venn diagram more so than the third, and then, okay.
Where a faction who should win splits the majority vote between similar candidates.
Okay, stop. Should. You know, as I've said many times, I'm an English major. I get a little twitchy when certain words are used to describe things. Should implies a moral imperative.
Causing all of them to lose.
I don't know. What do you guys think? The faction who should win? Should Al Gore have won that election?
And this isn't a left or a right issue.
I don't know. When you bring up Al Gore's loss, and then you say he should have won, but he was spoiled by Ralph Nader through a phenomenon. I don't know.
It happens all the time in elections from the top to the bottom of the ballot, and it's cost both major parties the presidency.
Okay, if you at least bring up Ross Perot, then I'll consider this a little bit of a fair and balanced argument-ish, but still, regardless, should win. If you want to say statistically likely, or we're even then.
With choose one voting, it works just fine if there are only 2 candidates in the race.
Okay, I have a prediction. I could be wrong. Is she going to promote ranked choice voting? Or maybe she won't call it ranked choice voting, but it'll be ranked choice voting by all mechanisms.
But if there are more than 2 candidates or more than 2 parties, the majority can end up divided and conquered.
That's democracy. That's the way the cookie doth crumble. Okay, so what are you suggesting be done?
So voters do what they've got to do. Voters face massive pressure to vote for the frontrunner on their side who's deemed the most electable.
Again, it's up to every voter to decide if their vote is going towards someone they think they can win or someone that they believe in personally to express themselves. It all depends on what they want to do, and that's their decision. There's no right decision. There's no wrong decision in that. It's your expression of your will as a voter. So, what? I don't know how much time she's going to spend on replaying out the problem before she gets to the offered solution. I hope we're not sitting here for more than half the talk with her giving example after abstract example after hypothetical before actually giving us something, dare I say, substantive. But before I move on too much here, there's an Adebisi. Good evening, Adebisi. Hope you're doing well. Did I miss anybody else? Angela Arriaga. Good evening. Did I already say hello? Frosted Glass? Frosted Glass, hello. I didn't already say hello. Anybody I missed? People coming in late? Yes, we watched the presidential address. Cosgrove. Good evening. All right. So, and Didi Juvats. I guess this woman never saw some of the past elections of the U.S. Take a look at the elections of 1820s, 1850s. Yeah, I don't know where she's going with this. I for some reason, with her arrangement of, if you have more than 2 candidates, the system doesn't work. I can only assume we're going to get some variant of ranked choice voting.
That election left me with a bad taste in my mouth.
I'll be a gentleman.
I resolved to still vote, but for making a difference, I turned to more direct actions.
Like, not as, first up, okay, well, the ranked choice thing aside, is she also going to suggest, as was mentioned before, the Electoral College go by the wayside? If that is any part of her reform plan,
The West Coast's primordial old-growth forests were under siege.
Yeah, I know! By the Empire versus the Ewoks!
And at the peak of the war on Afghanistan, I got involved.
Wait. Maybe I missed them. What?
To more direct actions. The West Coast's primordial old-growth forests were under siege. And at the peak of the war on Afghanistan, I got involved.
My syntax error. Old growth forests under siege. During the war in Afghanistan, I got involved in it. I shot an elephant in my pajamas. You got involved in the war in Afghanistan? Or...
On the day that the U.S. carpet-bombed Baghdad...
Which is not in Afghanistan. But... You know, the war in Iraq happened after the war in Afghanistan started, right? Whoa!
I was 300 feet up a redwood tree.
Is that a euphemism?
Locked down with a pair of flying squirrels hiding in a hollow beneath me.
Gee, Rocky, where are Boris and Natasha?
I don't know, Bullwinkle. Flying squirrels. Okay, so when the war in Afghanistan, carpet bombing Baghdad was taking place, you were up a tree. You can't make this stuff up. You know what? I believe her. I don't think this is an anecdote that never happened. I believe her.
Our local logging company had fallen in a hostile takeover by a multinational corporation.
I cannot wait to find out how this circles back around to voting reform.
Their plan? To illegally cut the protected old growth and just pay the fines.
Okay.
Every day was a battle where deputized climbers spurred up after us. Every day, another friend was arrested, and every day, another 2,000-year-old redwood fell.
Okay, so I don't know this story. So the police showed up to an illegal logging operation and arrested the protesters. Okay.
On Earth Day, April 22nd, 2003, my tree fell.
I hope you were not in it at the time.
I was heartbroken, and I didn't know what to do.
You win some, you lose some, I guess.
So I went back to the drawing board.
Okay.
I got into sustainable design.
I feel like I'm listening to two different TED Talks woven together or something.
The hope was that maybe unsustainable systems don't have to be fought head on.
Okay, going to the bingo card, circling systemic or institutional. I'm not quite at weightless example non sequitur yet because I'm waiting to see how this all fits together. Yeah, okay, let's keep going.
They're unsustainable because they have their own built-in expiration date. I was sick of fighting against. I wanted to find something worth fighting for.
Okay.
And that is where voting reform comes in.
What happened? So, sustainable design voting reform. Okay, as a mini biography of a chain of events that led her to have a change in focus, I guess the forest story isn't completely irrelevant, but that was a weird tangent.
What if we could design a better voting system?
What if Dr. Doom became Sorcerer Supreme? What if the Punisher got the Venom symbiote? What if the Fantastic Four all had the same power? We can play that game for a long time. Why not just tell us what you're thinking of?
A system that would actually incentivize voters to vote their conscience, so we could actually hold corrupt politicians accountable.
Not to sound like a pessimist, but politics corrupts. Absolutely. Accountable? You know who ultimately has to hold politicians accountable most of the time? Other politicians.
One spring day, a couple years later, I was out in front of my parents' house building some raised garden beds
You're very earth conscious.
when a canvasser walked up and asked me if I'd ever heard of ranked choice voting.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I just knew it. Sometimes it feels good to be right. Adabisi, thanks so much. I feel a bit odd that she's making a parallel with the fighters in a war zone and her hugging trees. That was really odd. In fact, that, you know what? As she's already moved on from that, unless she somehow brings it back around again, weightless example or non sequitur. What did that have to do with the war in Afghanistan? Nothing. Nothing. And she's going to equate sitting up in a tree with flying squirrels to carpet bombing Baghdad in Afghanistan. Yeah, so, okay. But yeah, ranked choice voting. Okay, now here's the question. Now it's been brought up, but she keeps talking about what if we could come up with a new way. Well, ranked choice voting isn't a new idea. So what, I guess the question is, having learned about ranked choice voting, and she's trying to pitch a new way, a new generation, what spin is she going to put on to ranked choice voting to make it more attractive? I can only think that it can't just be, have you guys heard of ranked choice voting before? It's got to be, hey, what if we put ranked choice voting on Instagram or Snapchat or something? Right?
Show of hands. Who here has heard of ranked choice voting? Or
Me!
or RCV for short.
RCV? Oh my gosh, sounds like a rapper.
Okay, most of us, about 3/4.
Okay, well, roll credits.
The canvasser explained that with ranked choice voting, you just rank your candidates in order of
Yes, yeah.
preference.
Yes.
It's safe to vote your conscience because if your favorite can't win, your vote just transfers to your next choice. So you don't have to worry about wasting your vote.
Uh-huh. Now, here's the question of, sort of integrity of argument here. Is she going to describe or even give airtime to the opposition to employing ranked choice voting?
Ranked choice eliminates vote splitting and it ensures majority preferred winners, he explained proudly.
Uh-huh.
I was inspired. And when I had some free time, I dug in, reading everything I could find and spreading the word online.
Okay, so why don't you talk about what the common pushback to ranked choice voting is, and then either dismiss it or counter it with your own points?
Eventually, I teamed up with a local group to try and get something on the ballot.
Uh-huh.
But ironically, it was at my first meeting where I got fact-checked.
Fair enough. And what happened?
With ranked choice, if your favorite can't win, your vote transfers to your next choice, if possible.
Uh-huh.
They explained. Ranked choice doesn't eliminate vote splitting, but it
Uh-huh.
mitigates it in some cases.
Okay.
I was corrected. Yes, it does. That's the entire point, I argued back. And other people got involved on both sides.
Uh-huh. Like I said, I'm waiting for her spin on the concept now.
Finally, seeing that we didn't have agreement on even the basic facts, we resolved to convene a research committee
Sounds very productive.
to hash out the details and to compare star voting with some of the other options on the table.
Yes, because ranked choice voting hasn't been debated or analyzed or game theoried out at any time previous in history that you could have looked up to save yourselves. Okay.
Our research committee learned that there has been a renaissance in the field in recent decades.
The field of ranked choice voting? I thought there were some fundamental weaknesses to it that you just articulated.
Today, experts can use computer models to see how different voting methods would actually perform.
In a simulation? And
it's pretty much just like how engineers can test the plans for a new skyscraper before actually building it.
what? You mean to tell me the computers can be used to create simulated models of things that aren't architectural designs? I'm just gobsmacked.
What we found was that basically every analysis agreed on the big picture.
Ooh, every analysis? Basically every analysis. Okay.
Traditional choose one voting almost always leads to polarized two-party domination.
Oh my God. Almost always. Okay.
It's the most gameable and the least accurate.
The least accurate. The least accurate to what?
No surprise there.
Uh?
And the studies also generally agreed on the general relative takeaways compared.
Generally agreed on the general relative take. Boy, you've put using weasel words to an art here.
Comparing the other voting methods.
Uh-huh.
Interestingly, a new system called star voting was the one that topped the charts.
Star voting. Oh, here we go. Star voting, equality of voice and voter satisfaction, constitutional political economy 2023. Star voting, 100%, honest/naive, viability aware. What?
But most of us were surprised to find that ranked choice voting consistently tested about second worst.
I'm not even sure I understand what they're being measured against. For those of you at home, there's a chart here. It has 4 voting methods on the, what do you want to call it? The left-hand vertical axis. Star voting, approval voting, ranked choice, and choose one. And then across the bottom, we have percentages, 70%, 80%, 90, and 100%. And then we have 2 data points. Honest/naive, and then viability aware. And star voting, whatever that is, ranks nearly 100% on honest/naive and viability aware. I hope she explains this, because I mean, I'm not a statistician. I don't know what this means.
We learned that ranked choice voting doesn't actually count all the rankings voters put down.
Okay.
And what rankings count depends on the order of elimination.
What is, look, just cut to the chase. What is star voting?
Changing the order of elimination can actually change the winner.
The star stand for something, like STAR?
So even if rankings could have made a difference, they might get ignored. And experts warned that this could actually undermine election security.
Election security? Well, we just talked about that with the presidential address.
You see, with ranked choice, you can't fully tally the ballots until you have all the ballots in hand.
Right.
This causes delays, and it makes it so that partial recounts or audits can't be conducted along the way as needed.
Well, I guess that kind of throws it out then, doesn't it? What is star voting?
Okay, so ranked choice voting isn't perfect,
No, duh!
people ask. But isn't anything better than what we've got now?
I feel as though it's sort of like the old Winston Churchill quote about, democracy is the worst system of government, is the worst system of government as opposed to all the others or something. I think I screwed up that quote, but something to that effect. It's a terrible system of government except for all the others, And just like in that same quote, or what I tried to get across in the sentiment, choose one voting is not a perfect system, but as compared to all the others, as far as I know, it's the best we got. So what is star voting?
It's got the name recognition, and it's got the momentum.
It does? For what?
Unfortunately, the answer is no.
Oh.
To explain, I'm going to go over a bit of the history.
I don't care about the history. You showed us a chart with the best system measured by markers that I don't understand and you didn't explain, and I'm going to circle leaves out vital context here pretty quick, and deceptive statistics as well, if you don't get around to it. So giving me a history lesson 9 minutes into your 14-minute talk is not a good use of your time or mine. What is star voting?
Ranked choice voting was invented over 150 years ago.
I don't care.
And it enjoyed some big initial successes.
But it didn't succeed enough to last the test of time. Who cares? What's star voting?
But in the era of the telegraph, the back-end complexity was an issue.
Great. Move on.
In the modern era, it started to gain momentum again.
You already told us that it is a less desirable system of voting than the one on the chart you showed. You don't have to sell me on the idea that ranked choice voting is not desirable. It wasn't desirable before you got onto the stage. It's not desirable now. You've already made your point. If you were going to do a history lesson, you should have put it earlier into the talk. Either way, waste of time. What is star voting?
And as of a couple of years ago, it had been adopted in 2 states, and it was used at the local level in many more.
Great.
But then everything changed.
Everything changed.
New York City's first ranked choice voting election in 2021 didn't go as planned.
Uh-oh. What happened in 2021 in New York?
After a long delay, election officials released results that later turned out to be wrong.
Oh my God! Who could have seen this coming except anybody who had looked into the failings of ranked choice voting beforehand? But hey, thanks New York for reproving a point already made. What is star voting?
They had mistallied the ballots.
Uh-huh.
This was unprecedented.
I doubt it was unprecedented.
Then the next year in Oakland, California, the same thing happened again.
In California? California. New York and California tried some wackadoo voting methods and it all went sideways? I'm shocked.
But worse. This time, they had mistallied every race.
If you can believe it. Voting anomalies in California.
And in one, the wrong candidate had actually taken office.
Whoops!
It later turned out that this wasn't election fraud. They were counting errors, and they were later corrected, but the damage had been done.
Who could have seen this coming? What is star voting?
Public trust in the security of our elections and trust in ranked choice voting had been shattered.
Oh my gosh, well, thank goodness it happened in New York and California. You've got 4 minutes. What is star voting?
Final straw came in Alaska's first ranked choice voting election. Like me, voters had been told that it was safe to vote their conscience because if their favorite couldn't win, their next choice would be counted.
But
even though they used ranked choice, the majority ended up divided and conquered.
maybe people did vote their conscience, and the majority wasn't as much of a majority as they thought. I mean, we're back to that should have won thing earlier. Anyway, thank you, Alan Thyler, for the how's it going Dogcat Fox. Oh, a Dogcat Fox.
Wowie, wow, wow.
Oh, there's a Deaver Cam. Keever Dam Dogcat Fox. Boy, oh boy, am I going all goofy in my old age here? Got some aphasia taking place or something? Or having some lysdexia hit me? Anyway, thank you, Alan Thyler. And that was a Keever Dam Dogcat Fox. Anna Lynn, hello. I didn't say hello earlier if I missed you. The major losing out sometimes is the fundamental issue with ranked choice. It's true. It's true. Maybe it was the silent majority that came in and said something. How do you know? Anyway.
And the candidate who was preferred over all others lost.
Was it an assumption that they were preferred over all others? You know, if you're just going to go by the candidate preferred over all others before the election even happens, why bother having the election?
Alaska disproved basically every promise that voters had been sold, and it sparked a tsunami of national backlash.
What is star voting?
Today, ranked choice voting has been repealed in 19 jurisdictions, and it's been banned outright in 19 states.
You could have saved us the history lesson, given us one example, and just said similar things happen in both California and Alaska. 3 minutes left.
Worse, it's caused irreparable damage to the reputation of the voting rights movement at large.
The voting rights movement at large? Whose voting rights are being curtailed right now? Except for the entire American populace, if you take what the president talked about earlier at face value, along with not passing the SAVE Act, but...
And likely set us back decades that we couldn't afford to lose.
Then let's pass the Save America Act.
The lesson?
Yes?
Ranked choice voting is outdated and oversold.
And so, in your final 3 minutes, what is star voting?
The good news, and there is good news,
Oh, thank goodness.
is that we can do way better.
Way better.
It's pretty simple.
I doubt it.
A better ballot should let voters show that they prefer the good guys over the bad guys.
So, put little harps and halos on someone and little devil horns on the other?
A better system should let voters show their full opinion.
Whoa, the camera movement on I've never seen such active camera movements on a TEDx before. Holy cow, you see that?
A better system should let voters show their full opinion, and it should count the full ballot.
Your opinion is your vote. Your full opinion. Like, so you got 4 candidates, and you say, I'm voting for Joe Schmo and Joe Bob because I like them. I like the cut of their jib. But I'm not voting for Rinky Dink and Sminky Mink because they're doo-doo heads. Like, what is your full opinion? What are you talking about?
This isn't rocket science.
You know what? I believe you. For some reason, after you went whole hog into being so up on ranked choice voting, after you thought climbing a tree and sitting with squirrels was going to affect the bombing of Baghdad in Afghanistan, I believe that whatever you're about to talk about is not rocket science.
It's basically taking the 5-star rating, already the gold standard for measuring public opinion, and applying it to our elections.
Oh, you mean literally starve? You know, yeah, I rank my candidates the same way I rank an Amazon purchase. I don't know about you. Okay, you've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Tell me how star rating a candidate or a group of candidates avoids the pitfalls of ranked choice voting.
With the 5-star ballot, you can show your preference order, and you can also show how much or how little you like your candidates.
And aside from the fact that you can assign the same number to more than one candidate, or maybe that's the big difference. How does this avoid the perils of ranked choice voting? And I ask that sincerely, despite my tone, because I don't know. I need her to tell us.
Is your second choice almost as good as your favorite? Or is it almost as bad as your last choice? In close races, that's information we need.
Does this avoid the tally problems exemplified in New York, California, and Alaska you just described?
Remember that research committee that I volunteered on?
How could I forget?
Well, that was 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh. That research committee that had a little chart where you're not explaining anything about the metrics by which you measured the success of the voting systems?
And we've been busy. We took the research that we did seriously.
I'm sure you did.
And we pivoted away from ranked choice voting well before things got ugly.
Well before what got ugly?
Since then, we've been working on that new system I mentioned.
Score, then automatic runoff. Oh, so it does... Not only is it literally star voting, it means something. Okay. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. Sales pitch for product or service. Circling that one. Leaves out vital context for that chart where she didn't explain what metrics they were talking about. And also deceptive statistics showing that chart, not explaining it. If she somehow in the last, 2 minutes she explains that, then I'll take them back. Okay, so far on the card, and I'm sure there might be others, childhood or family anecdote, weightless example or non sequitur, attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase, systemic or institutional, deceptive statistics, sales pitch for product or service, and leaves out vital context. Also a list because she put up a list of other voting methods. Also, you know what? Mind reading assumes motives, like person who should have won a couple of times in there too. Okay. Let me back up a little bit. Pardon me.
Choice voting well before things got ugly. Since then, we've been working on that new system I mentioned. Star voting was specifically invented to take into account new advances in the field, to address issues with the previous systems, and
How does it avoid the problems of ranked choice voting? That is what you have to tell us in the final 2 minutes. Because unless you're going to tell us how it mitigates the risks, at best, of ranked choice voting, then this talk doesn't make any sense.
to go further to deliver on the promises.
How?
The star in star voting stands for score, then automatic runoff.
So adding an inherent extra layer of election. So every time there is a vote, there will be a second vote.
And that's exactly how it works.
So adding more points of potential confusion and failure to the process.
Star voting, you give your favorite 5 stars. Give your last choice 0. And you score the other candidates as desired. 5 stars best, 0 stars worst. The 2 highest scoring candidates overall are finalists who advance to a runoff.
Okay, I admit, I am not a political scientist and maybe I'm a little dumb. How is this fundamentally all that different from ranked choice voting? It's the runoff part, right? The top 2 remainers. What if you just added the runoff element to ranked choice voting? Or is that what this is? Is that the only difference fundamentally?
And in that runoff, your full vote automatically goes to the finalist you prefer.
Okay, so I'm not submitting 2 different ballots. They just take everything the top 2 people to have received most of the 5 stars become the runoff, and then they retally everybody's votes again to decide who got the most 5 stars between, or the aggregate of the votes. What?
That's it. The finalist with the most votes wins.
So if I've got 5 stars, then I get a number 5 in my total rating? And then they go just down the list and say, okay, well, in this instance, Carmen got a 5-star here and a 4-star there. That means she's got 9. And then there's a 3 for Blake, so he's got 3. And then there's a 4 for Carmen, so now it's 13. Like that? How does this not just equate back to ranked choice? I am an English major. I was told there would be no math.
The magic is, with star voting, your vote can always make a difference whether or not your favorite can win.
But that happens in ranked choice, too. What?
It combats polarization at the root by electing strong, consensus-supported winners.
Okay, again, it's not my responsibility to explain how this remedies the problems with ranked choice voting. That's her responsibility. She needs to describe how this process would have avoided the problems in New York, California, and Alaska. She brought up those examples. She needs to answer for them with her offered proposal. Otherwise, this talk is weightless.
All of the ballot data is always counted.
Was not all of the ballot data counted in the ranked choice examples?
It's user-friendly, and it's tallied with simple addition.
So is first choice voting.
You just add up the stars, then add up the votes.
Add up the stars, then add up the votes? I thought the star was the vote.
Last but not least, star voting is transparent, secure, and auditable.
How is it any more secure or auditable than ranked choice voting? I must be missing something here. Frosted Glass, thank you so much. Voting is now filling out a D&D character sheet. No kidding. Actually, filling out a D&D character sheet is probably more interesting. Thank you, Frosted Glass. Also, Faustonia just wanted to support the channel. Well, thank you, Faustonia. Also, Faustonia, if you didn't already know, the bingo card with your name as the algorithmic fuel is tonight's bingo card. So we're going to get to that just here in a couple of minutes. Once she runs out of time in the next 30 seconds, not explaining a thing. Also, thank you, Frosted Glass, again. To paraphrase Ultron, she's unbearably naive. Yes. She climbed a tree during the war in Afghanistan where we were carpet bombing Baghdad. Anyway.
In its day, the idea of voting itself was revolutionary.
So you're not going to explain anything. You're not going to tell us how this solves for the problems with ranked choice voting or how fundamentally this is any different than ranked choice voting. Okay.
And the voting rights movement has come a long way since then.
Yeah, and it's not going to go anywhere near this.
But people are disillusioned, and many don't vote at all.
Well, maybe with what the president said tonight and the remedies, both prosecutorial and, legislative that are potentially down the road, maybe something will change. Star voting's not going to do it.
Until we actually incentivize voters to vote their conscience.
You didn't explain how this causes someone to vote their conscience.
We aren't going to be able to make a difference on the issues that matter the most.
And you didn't explain how this is going to somehow solve for corrupt politicians either.
We owe it to voters to get this right.
I agree. Throw it in the waste bin along with ranked choice voting.
With star voting, we can absolutely raise the bar, level the playing field, and unlock the promise of one person, one vote.
Bill of goods. That is all you've sold us here.
Of the people, by the people, and for the people.
And I speak for the trees. The truffular trees.
Thank you all.
Okay. That was the best she had. Explain nothing. Look, if she'd taken the whole history lesson of ranked choice voting out and spent some time talking about star voting and then compare and contrast. In New York, ranked choice voting failed because of this. If it had been star voting, this would have been avoided or mitigated or whatever. That's what she should have done. The fact that she didn't do it really doesn't help anything at all. Anyway, moving on to the bingo card. I'm going to go over the bingo card one more time by myself. If you have arguments for squares to be circled, hold on to them. I'll get to you momentarily. Economic disparity. She didn't talk about class or income so much on this, so nothing. White supremacy. She didn't talk about race. Word salad. Boy, howdy. Marginalized or marginalization. Fundamentally, she said that people's votes were being marginalized, or the candidates that should win were being marginalized, however you want to slice it. So in that wise, we have marginalization. And with that...
Bingo! What? Bingo! Bingo! Yeah! Bingo! Okay!
Plays victim. Okay, and again, this is the square that requires something personal, where she is articulating that she was the victim of something in a disingenuous way. Even with her up a tree story, she just kind of told it out, accepted it for what it was, and moved on. But she was disillusioned and disheartened. But I don't know. Does that count? I don't know if that counts. Patriarchy. She never mentioned gender roles in this thing. Contradicts own point. Fails to make argument. Boy, howdy. DEI philosophy. No. Doesn't quite cross that threshold. Feminism. Again, never brought up gender stuff. Microaggressions or unconscious bias. I keep thinking something about vote your conscience or something. I don't know. You tell me. Anecdote that probably never happened. I mean, the grandest anecdotes that she had was that she was brought to a protest when she was 5 and that she climbed a tree in 2003. And that rhymed. But I didn't hear anything that sounded too good to be true or anything. So, privilege. Not specifically. Collectivizes own demographic. I never heard her say, like, as a woman or... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. Benevolent condescension. Yes. And that was leaving out... I mean, it's kind of a crossover. It's like, well, ranked choice voting doesn't work. But this new thing really does, I promise you, and everything else. But was she being condescending? I mean, she was very enthusiastic. Okay. I struggle with myself on this. And lastly, self-vilification or wretchedness. I mean, she talked about being down and out and being discouraged about someone pushing back on ranked choice voting, but that wasn't self-vilification. She wasn't calling herself part of the problem or anything. It was always sort of a quest for clarity. So that's the card as I have it. If you have an argument for a square not yet circled, put it in the chat now. I will scroll up a little bit, but if I miss your argument, please just repost it. Average Joe chat. Wait, one person, one vote, but I could give 3 different candidates 5 stars? Yeah! Faustoni, I actually favor 1 vote for everyone and an additional vote for each 10,000 paid in taxes up to 10 votes. Alternatively, I also favor passing an easy 5-question civics test, which must score 100% to count. Call your senator. Plays victim. They killed her tree. Oh! That's right. They did cut down her tree. Oh, man. Just for fun, sure. Why not? Patriarchy, because they managed to get one of the agents to transition and go deep undercover to give this talk and fool the midwits. That is a conspiracy theory, and I'm not going to even entertain it. Advocate is again, star and score with an automatic runoff are not new buzzwords. They've been both used. Okay. All right, well, I'll put it to the chat. Because I hadn't heard of it before. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Let's see. New buzzword or not? Star voting. Okay, guys, I'm going to put a poll into the chat. All you have to do is press 1 for yes, 2 for no in the chat, and that'll tell me what your thoughts are on this. Should it be considered a new buzzword or buzz phrase, even if the concept has been around for over 10 years? You let me know. I think it's on the edge because she's pushing something that is relatively obscure. But I don't know. Maybe that just means it's a sales pitch for product or service. I'll leave that vote up for a couple of minutes. I vote for ostracizing any party affiliate. Service guarantees citizenship. Would you like to know more? Love it. Let's see. Okay. Plays victim. Even though, as she pointed out, there were people dying in the Middle East at the time, the important thing is they cut down her... Fair enough. Fair enough. Adam Scarlett, just curious, are you satisfied with patriarchy and feminism being separate boxes on the bingo card? Just curious. I mean, yes, because well, the motivation for that at the time was there were a lot of talks that focused particularly on, in the olden days, both talks and sort of commentary videos on YouTube that were talking about trying to prove or demystify the presence of the patriarchy without talking too much about feminism itself. And then, of course, you had videos that were talking explicitly about feminism without never mentioning the patriarchy because it was just assumed to be there. So I guess the question is, do we consolidate the two? And if one is mentioned, we only get 1 square out of it rather than 2. It's a fair question. But then, if we do consolidate them, what do we put into the empty square? Especially when systemic or institutional, still to me is the one that needs the most attention. But she assumes people aren't voting their conscience. Ooh. Oh, good point. Well, mind reading assumes motives. Yeah, I mean, I circled that one already. Or are you talking about benevolent condescension? I assume you're talking about benevolent condescension, but just verify that for me. Unconscious bias, the candidate that should have won. Also having candidates represented by good and evil Star Wars characters. Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. Hold on, okay. I'm going to end the poll. And the poll was yes, by a country mile. Okay, so it does constitute a new buzz or buzz phrase for the sake of this talk. All right, so I'll leave it as is. Let's see. I used the wrong widget. I used the YouTube widget and not the StreamYard widget for the poll. So apologies for saying the 1 or 2 thing. I got confuzzled. Adabisi, collectivized zone demographic because she said something about the correct person should have won, meaning everybody else voted wrong from the other demographic. But she has to collectivize her own demographic. She has to use something like as a woman, as a Oregonian, or something like that. Not just collectivizing demographics, but her demographic. She uses that where she's like speaks for everyone or something. And she used the should win in a definition, not referring specifically to a particular party. And she did say this applies in elections where both parties have won. So she did spread the love, so to speak, a little bit. You didn't circle unconscious bias. I was going to, but I got distracted. But yes, unconscious bias for the whole should have won thing. And with that,
Bingo. What? Of course!
our second bingo. All right. Any other arguments for squares to be circled? Would you ever consider self-vilification because of her talk with her family member about how votes don't count? In a sense, it vilifies the collective voter base. No, that wasn't self-vilification. I mean, like I said, she was disheartened by having her wonderful idea challenged, but she didn't say or position herself as she was the problem or she did something wrong. She just, made a mistake or, got fact-checked. So I really don't consider that self-vilification so much. I would need something a bit more clear-cut. Let's see. What was it before? Dead Man, when you said she assumes people aren't voting their conscience, were you meaning that for mind reading assumes motives or benevolent condescension? I guess I could see it for benevolent condescension. Privilege, those lumber companies that could just pay fines and break the law. Oh! Ooh! Just over the line. Just over the line. One toke over the line, as they say. Okay, any other arguments for squares to be circled, guys? I'm already, I'm just about on time, even with the president's speech. I'm just about on time, all things considered, which is great. Because I got a couple other things I'd like to do with some awake time I have left before I have to go to bed, because tomorrow will be an early day again. Would it be self-vilification with her not being able to convince her friend because she lacked knowledge but was correct? No, again, she has to, not to belabor it, but the classic example is somebody standing on a stage and saying that, they have contributed to the scourge of white privilege because of their skin color. Or, they're giving a talk on masculinity and, it's like, I've understood, I've felt those same toxic emotions in me, too, something like that, where they're really making themselves out to be part of the problem that they're attempting to resolve or make claim to in the talk. And I never felt like that's what she was doing. Her being, I don't know what you want to call it, disillusioned about her faith in something doesn't make her a villain, doesn't make her bad. In my mind, if you make a mistake, you get corrected on something, you try to learn from it. Even if star voting isn't really the panacea she thinks it is, I never felt the notion that she was making herself out to be, or was quoting herself to be, the bad guy. So, sadly, SpaceX Starship scrubbed their launch today. Oh yeah, that's right, they were going to do that. All right. Well, guys, that's the card as we have it. Obviously, as always, if you have arguments for squares not yet circled, you can always leave a comment in the comments below, or you can leave a comment over on the Discord server. Are you a member of the Discord server? Would you like to join the Discord server? Well, there's a link to the Discord server in the chat right now. Click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you actually watched the stream, are not a bot, and if thus earn the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word comes to us from Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns. The romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism. And today's secret word is going to be childish. There you go. Just say, hello, childish. And I'll know that you watched the show. Let's move over to deciding how next week's bingo card will be decided. Going over to the spinning wheel here. Who are our top 5 contributors and commenters in the chat today from the YouTube page? We have Faustonia again. Returning from last week's win, we have Derek Larue. In the number 3 spot, we have Frosted Glass. And in the number 4 spot, we have Chicago Mike. And in the number 5 spot, we have Adabisi. So let me get that all squared away here. Put that there. Put that there. Put that there. Okay, so let me share my screen on. No, I want to go to spin that wheel. Here we go, guys. Who's going to fuel the next week's bingo card? Here we go. Whee! And today's winner is it's Faustonia. 2 weeks in a row. Holy cats, Faustonia. Your bingo card will once again be next week's bingo card. Well, there you go. Let's see. Austin, can we pick next week's seed word through star voting? I just did, because every one of you is a star. In my book, you're all stars. Rigged, says the Queen. Rigged? Says the Queen, mind you. One more space argument. Oh, we should go to 6 next time? 6 choice voting? Is that it? I mean, I suppose. I tell you what, I'll put a vote up on the Discord server. Should we expand the spinning wheel to more options? Because I'm just doing the top 5. I could do the top 10. It would take me longer to type in all the names. Or I could do top 6, 7, 8. What do you think? I'll put up a poll on the Discord server either later today or tomorrow. And we can decide as a community how we'd like to have our voting system go. How does that sound? All right. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Programming note, as always, there may be ambush streams over the weekend. You never know about different topics or different things. So keep an eye on my the Twitter thing at the bottom there. And also, I'll be here Monday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time for DEI Death Watch. We'll take another look at articles and news and perhaps a video, you never know, about the downfall and the doubling down of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And of course, next week at the usual time, Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, will be the next episode of TEDXcellence. Let's see. With that, I think I've covered all the bases. I hope so. Either way, if you haven't already, please do make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check your subscription. Make sure you're still subscribed, because sometimes YouTube does kooky things to subscriptions. But otherwise, moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Adabisi, benevolent condescension. Even though America chose Bush, he explained how we voted wrong and correct choice was Gore. Very well. I'll give you that should thing was a little bit benevolent condescension. Okay. And with that interruption to my spiel, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Those of you that donated, either to myself or to the link in the chat box to Blood Cancer United, thank you guys so much for your generosity. Very much appreciate it. Elsewise, everyone, have a good rest of your Thursday evening. Have a good Friday ahead of you. Hope you have a good weekend as well. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.